What's up guys, we've got another mock driving test leaving from Birmingham Garretts Green. This time there's going to be an internal camera as well, so I can point out if there is any faults that's happening inside of the car. You'll notice that he's on the right hand side of the road. We couldn't start this from the test centre as there were tests in there at that moment, but he does have good all round observations before he moves off. Notice as well, he did check the far right blind spot because that's where the pedestrian pavement is. Some people on social media say you don't need to check it. It's always best to check it though, because it is possible to fail for not doing that check. So he's done it by default. I thought that was fantastic. You'll notice down this stretch there's the normal vans parked up on the side. He reduces his speed slightly just to see if the situation changes. He then quickly glances his right mirror before he moves out, and then when he returns back to his side on the left, he checks his mirrors again. This is the kind of thing the examiners would want to be seeing. He's left himself a good gap between himself and the LGV in front. This is quite good because that way he has a better view of the road ahead. If you get too close, you will block your view, it'll be harder to see and you might get too close to it. He's still partially in the middle of the road because of the pedestrian. As soon as they've got back on the pavement, he looks to the left and then moves back across. At the end of the road, I'd like you to turn left. So he's now been given the instruction at the end of the road left. He waits till he's past this entrance and then he puts his signal on. Next road on the right. You guys have probably all done this 1,000 times with your instructors or friends and family, so you should know the first road that you see to the right is a no entry as it's a one-way road. We've now entered a 20-mile-per-hour road, and that is the same for all this stretch until you see a new sign saying that the speed limit has returned. Let's see if he's noticed it. He has really good observations at this junction. He checks all sides and keeps the car rolling. This will make it easier than coming to a complete stop and then looking. If it's safe, keep the car rolling. If it is very blind, there may be situations where you do have to stop before you emerge. With this crossroads that's approaching, they may sometimes not say a thing to you, because at the beginning of the test they say, I want you to follow the road ahead unless road signs or markings say otherwise. I've asked him to take the next road on the right. Again, there's really good control as he enters this one. He keeps the car rolling as the view is fairly decent today from all directions. Down this road he has really good control of the speed. He only builds up the speed when he can see what's ahead. As the space starts to tighten, he reduces his speed. Also, you'll notice when he's past the parked cars, he returns back to his side of the road before turning into his turn. This is really good because otherwise you can end up cutting corners and on the wrong side of the road. If we take the second right, please. Now, some of you might say this is too slow for this road. Well, I think this is the perfect speed for it. There's always people around here. It's quite a tight built-up area. It's quite hard to see how much space you've got between each vehicle as well from the camera. So this is a really good control speed for this road. With this corner, for example, you can't see what's around there. There could be children playing football in the middle of the road. You don't know. If you could pull up on the right, please. So we're now going to be doing the manoeuvre, which is pull up on the right and reverse 2 cars' lengths. If you could now reverse 2 cars' lengths, keeping a relatively close distance to the curb. Okay. He started his observations by looking over his far right shoulder and worked his way across all the way to the far left. In this situation, that's the most recommended thing to do because pedestrians will be on your right and they move slower than the cars that would be on your left. Some examiners may tell you when to stop. I did the same. I'd see that he was more than capable. Thank you. I won't ask you to do that again. Move off when you're ready. Just wanted to point out how fantastic the observations were when he was moving off. Now, every driving instructor goes on quite a lot about the observations, but it's quite important that you don't use them as a tick box exercise just to say that you've done it. The observations are important to do because you need to see what's going on around you. For example, this is quite close to a play park. There could be children that will look out into the road playing football and things like that. Remember, the examiner wants to see a nice, good, safe drive. So shortly we're going to start our independent driving. So if we follow the road ahead and at the roundabout we're going to turn right, I would then like you to follow road signs for Chelmsley Wood. So at the roundabout we're going to be turning right and then we'll be following signs for Chelmsley Wood. Okay. If you forget any point, let me know and I can repeat that for you. Of course. Move off when you're ready. He waits till he's just past his turn to put his right indicator on. This is really good timing as you don't want to mislead other road users. Coming up, there's a suitable gap to move off. If he was at the biting point ready, he could have easily have taken it. So we're roughly about 10 minutes into his test at the moment with just one driving fault. So far, this is really good progress. Signs for Chelmsley Wood. The first sign for Chelmsley Wood is coming up. You can see on the roundabout sign it says straight ahead. If you do forget what direction you're going, you are allowed to ask the examiner. You'll notice he keeps to the left as he comes off at this junction. This is currently 2 lanes and it does merge into one further down. This fan shows exactly why you do it. If there's anything trying to overtake you, allow them to do so, especially if they're in front of you. If they're behind you, generally they would merge behind. I have to say, I don't like the van's overtake. Safe to do so. Can you show me how you would clean your front windscreen with the windscreen wash?
Front windscreen?
Yeah, so the front windscreen wash, please. Thank you. Watching this vehicle in front, he notices that they're signalling to pull over. He passes this vehicle really well with all of the appropriate mirror checks. They had a good amount of space either side, and he returned back to his lane in good time. Because he had a good following distance, he made sure that he didn't get too close to that vehicle when it did decide to stop. One thing to remember is when passing a parked vehicle, you do not need a signal unless it could benefit the driver behind you or you are changing lanes to pass that vehicle. The reason for this is it could be misleading if there's turns or anything like that on the road that you're currently on. The next sign is coming up for the directions that he's following for Chelmsley Wood. On the roundabout is showing right second exit. This roundabout can sometimes throw people off because when you approach it, the right hand turn looks like it's straight ahead. But if you're an eagle-eyed viewer and you notice the road markings on the floor, that is telling you that it's a right turn and you would require a signal. When entering this road, there's a few things that you need to bear in mind. If it's school time, there will be a lot of school kids on this stretch. There's also a bike lane to the left. But not only that, this road's been made a bit wider, so sometimes people think that it's a 40-mile-per-hour road. This is just a regular 30-mile-per-hour road. straight ahead, please. One of the questions you are allowed to ask the examiner is if you forget which direction you're going, if you think you've missed a road sign, and things like that. So, we're now going to be following signs for Kingshurst. The first one is at the roundabout straight ahead.
Okay. Straight ahead, okay.
Is the next sign.
Okay. So the first left.
Examiners aren't mean people that want to trick you out. If a sign is hidden and it won't give you enough notice, for example by bushes or large vehicles, they will point it out to you. This wouldn't get marked down against you either. You'll notice there's a very small gap coming up with the blue car behind. He does accelerate in quite fast, but because the blue car is travelling at about 20-30 miles per hour, they catch up with us quite quickly. Because there was still a bit of a distance between the blue car and him, this wouldn't go down as a serious fault, but if he'd have been any slower, it could have ended quite badly. Sign is Kingshurst left.
Kingshurst.
So that's now the end of the independent driving. I'm now going to be given directions as normal. So as you can see, the independent driving, following the road signs, isn't too difficult. At the roundabout, we'll be turning left.
Check left, okay.
The next roundabout can throw quite a lot of people off because it sort of looks like a left turn. It's quite sharp. You'll notice the road sign that's to your left now is telling you that the roundabout is straight ahead. You would need to signal off as it is the first exit.
Straight ahead.
This way, please. If you forget which way you're going at a roundabout or a junction, it's best just to keep going whichever way is safest. At this point, he did ask which way to go, and it was safe for me to say to take that exit. There wasn't any faults there because he had his signal on already. He cancelled it off, but he popped it back on nearly straight away. One of the worst things you could do is if you forget your direction, is just rapidly sharp turn the car to whichever exit you think it was. Do everything controlled and safely, and remember to look. The upcoming roundabout sometimes throws people off if they haven't done it before, because there's just 2 exits, a left turn and a right turn, and it's a bit small and sharp. Sometimes people get a bit confused. The roundabout sign we've just passed shows us that there's only 2 exits. The examiner would say at this point, at the roundabout, turn right. Traffic lights were turning left. You probably heard me say the traffic lights were turning left. Most examiners would probably just say we're taking the next road on the left. Up ahead is a tighter situation, but one that we can fit through. He reduced his speed nicely and moved through it. He did check his mirrors briefly before he approached it. I would recommend that he'd look to the left more though, just so he could see how much space there was. This isn't a driving fault, as he did have an okay amount of space and he did check his mirrors beforehand. It's just a bit of an advisory. In tighter situations, look both sides so you can see how much space you have.
Next road, sorry, this one.
Pick whichever's the next safest road. They had 2 faults here, and it wasn't for going the wrong way. The first fault was for they had their signal on for the first right turn, but then took the second right. And the other fault was with the car that was proceeding to enter our road, they could have moved off a bit quicker to have cleared them sooner. Now, if you do go the wrong way, as always, the examiner will redirect you. They know the roads like the back of their hands. Notice how this road's a little bit tighter. They're proceeding at a good speed for this road. You don't want to be going too fast down here. Anyone could be stepping out. We're now correctly proceeding down this road. At this point we had the choice to either move into that gap or, if we could fit past this car, to continue if they're allowing it. The car was holding back and he takes it nice and slow and moves hard over to the left and allows the car to the right to continue. This is quite a tricky situation, but notice how he keeps looking to the left and to the right to see how much space he has between him and the other vehicle. Not once did he clip the curb or get too close to either side. In some situations, I think that could quite have easily have escalated into a serious fault. If, say for example, the car that was entering the road was refusing to allow us to continue, that could have got extremely difficult. Next road on the left. This road is quite tight and narrow. We can't see much of what's ahead because of the bend. He keeps good observations to the left and the right to make sure he doesn't get too close to the curb or any parked vehicles. And notice how he slows down for this bend. This is really good because there could be anything on the other side of that road. Broken down cars, people crossing, etc. Next road on the left. With this turn, he positions in the box nicely, so if any cars did want to pass on the left, then they can do so. He's positioned in the box really well and waits for a safe opportunity to take his turn. And if you could pull up on the left, ideally by the post box. Thank you, and move off when you're ready. A lot of you guys may recognise this road, and you'll know that he's near the end of his test now. He's only got 4 minor faults, which is actually fantastic. He's done his manoeuvre, so he doesn't need to worry about that, and he's done his show me and tell me questions. So all he's got to do now is get back to the test centre safely. I don't know about you guys, but I absolutely hate this roundabout. To me, this roundabout was designed by the devil because it has 6 exits. Or maybe that's just me from the sheer amount of times I've had to circle this 50,000 times as people forget their exits. You'll shortly notice that I point out which exit it is. Sometimes the examiners will tell you again where the exit is or what road to take to make sure the test stays on time. They only have short breaks in between each test and then they have the next one, so if they run too far behind it can have a massive impact on an already busy schedule. If they do reiterate where to go, this won't be used against you. At this roundabout you'll notice he continues straight ahead. He took the right direction, but he didn't look to the right to see if anything was there. Roundabout straight ahead. You'll notice the speed at the moment is quite slow. If you're stuck behind somebody during your driving test that's going a bit slower, this won't be used against you. If they were going extremely slow, for example 5 miles per hour, 10 miles per hour, at certain points you would be expected to overtake them, but this is not one of those situations. Road on the right. So we're now nearing the test centre, which will be the end of the mock test here. All in all, I think this was an amazing drive. Before this, they'd only driven the car for about 15 minutes. Now bearing in mind every car's clutch does drive differently depending on its age and the make and model of the car. The observations were fantastic, along with the judgment while meeting traffic as well. If you could jump into a car you've never driven before and only have this amount of driving faults, you are on to a winner. Now this learner's test is coming up in a few days, so they wanted to practice to see if they're ready. And the end is in sight. You pull up on the left here for me.
Sorry.
So, that's the end of your test. How do you think you did?
Very. This part very bad. Rest of the part I think.
So, did you mount the curb or did you tap the curb?
Just tap the curb.
You just tapped the curb, didn't you? So, we'll forget about that for a sec. So, how do you think you did for the rest of it? Bearing in mind, you have driven this car for 10 minutes and that's it.
Yeah.
How do you think you did?
I think I did good only for the one part when I was turning right. There was a car reversing, and I don't know if he had to stop slow for me or not. So I was thinking I might have failed there.
So on that road, you're already established on that road.
Yeah.
So they were coming into the road. It is traffic both ways and it is quite a tight road. You did check your mirrors on approach to it. You slowed down. You gave them enough space. So that bit there, that was absolutely fine because we were already approached on the road. The other option is that they made us reverse all the way out, but they were moving back because they could see that we're already established. So that part was absolutely fine. So at this point, I always go through the individual faults bit by bit so they can see what they can improve on. If you guys find this useful or would be interested in taking part, give me a shout. I will be trying to do one every month. This is very new to me, so please be fair in the comments. And remember, he drove this car for a very short amount of time, so I think he did absolutely amazing.